Hola. Noun gender. Nouns referring to men and women, you know from your study of Spanish so far, have generally ended in an o if it refers to a guy and an a if it refers to a woman. There are other nouns that don't refer to people, and they are also classified as masculine and feminine nouns. It's kind of hard to understand because English doesn't have this distinction. We have singular nouns, plural nouns, so bike, bikes, but we don't have this different way of classifying words, nouns specifically, by their gender, if they're masculine or feminine. It has nothing to do with if men use an object more or women use an object more. What it has to do with is the spelling of that word, and specifically the suffix. So masculine words tend to end in o, or, age, hambre. O especially is going to be the pattern that you see. And for feminine words, if it ends in a, 95% of the time it's going to be a feminine word. As well as words sillon, either spelling, dad and tad. So that's a general pattern that you can follow, but really when you're learning a noun, make sure you learn if it's la or el or un or una, if it's masculine or feminine when you learn that word. You'll need to know that. And you'll need to know that because with agreement, remember we called it matching, that Spanish is very matchy-matchy. With agreement, you have to know if a noun is masculine or feminine so you can make the words that describe it match. So, as you already know, in Spanish, words that describe each other need to match in number and in gender. So following is an explanation of how the word one and a must agree with what they describe. So un and una are two ways to say a or an in Spanish. Un is the masculine version, una is the feminine version. So let's look at the práctica. A female teacher, you know that is a profesora. This word ends in a and it also refers to a woman, so we are going to use the feminine a to describe that. Una profesora. A male teacher, however, is a profesor. So here you have a word ending in or that follows that masculine pattern, but it also refers to a guy, so un profesor. Class, clase, is a feminine word, so una clase. Hour, hora, ends in an a, also a feminine word, so you're going to want to say una hora. A book, libro is book, it ends in an o. So remember, 95% of the time you can assume if it ends in o, it's masculine, so you want un libro. And año. Año ends in an o, it's also masculine. Un año, to say a year. So even the word a must agree with what it describes. Chicos, the word uno means one, it's the number. When you're just counting like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's when you're going to use uno. But if you have the number 1 and it comes before a masculine or feminine noun, no matter if it's singular or plural, doesn't matter if it's one thing or more than one thing, uno is going to become un or una so as to agree with what it's describing. So if you were just counting books and there was a pile, you're like uno, dos, tres, of course you'd say uno. But if somebody said, how many books are there in that backpack? And you said, 1 book, you would say un libro. We would make that uno drop the o to make it show that this is a masculine noun. 31 books. Remember, you're saying 30, 30, and 1, un, libros. So it's like you're saying 30 books and 1 book. So 1 is part of the number 31 here, but since it comes in front of a masculine noun, you're dropping the o, even if you're saying books and you're not saying book. A female student. Una, or one female student, excuse me. Una estudiante. And it also means a female student. And once again, 1 is agreeing with the fact that it's a female. 21 female students. 21 is what you use to count, like 20, 21, 22. But since we're talking about female students, we're going to reflect that fact. 21 estudiantes. 1 year. Un año. Año is a masculine word, so we're going to reflect that by dropping the O of uno. 31 years. 1 is still going to come in front of a masculine noun, so we're going to drop the O. 31 años. Adjective placement. Descriptive adjectives. Big, yellow, interesting, tall, short. All of those are descriptive adjectives. They will follow, they will come after the words they describe. So it's very much the opposite of English. We say an interesting class. In Spanish, they're going to say a class interesting. So clase is a feminine word, so I'm going to say una clase. And then interesting is going to come after the word clase. You'll notice that clase is feminine, una is feminine. Interesante, I can't make masculine or feminine. It is what it is. But it is in the singular form, just like clase is. Everything matches, everything agrees. A boring subject. Remember, subject is una materia, ends in a, so easy to see that's a feminine word. And you're really going to be saying a subject boring. So una materia aburrido is how you say boring, since we're describing a subject, aburrida. A nice teacher, it's a female teacher. So una profesora, and really we're saying a teacher nice. Simpática, since it's a female teacher. A mean partner. Well, this will depend if your partner is a guy or a girl. If it was a guy, you would be saying a partner mean, un compañero antipático. Un compañero antipático. If it was a girl who was your partner and she was mean, una compañera, bear with me, antipática. The computer is not liking the fact that I did not highlight this and switch this to Spanish, so that's why I keep switching it. Una compañera antipática. Everything matches, everything agrees, and the order is different because in Spanish the describing words follow what they describe. So opposite of English. The words bueno and malo, good and bad, are a bit different. Bueno and malo, the speaker can decide, the writer can decide if they want the word to go before or after the word they describe. The rule that the descriptive adjective comes after the word it describes doesn't exactly apply to bueno and malo. You can do what you want. So a good class, we could follow the pattern that I just showed you where you say a class good, una clase buena, but you could also put buena in front of class. Una buena clase. And there it's going to be the very same word order that we have in Spanish, in English. With bueno or malo, if either one of those goes before a masculine singular noun, each will drop the O. So bueno followed by a masculine singular noun is going to become buen, and malo followed by a masculine singular noun is going to become mal. So chicos, here's some práctica. A good year, we could write it either way. Let's start with it after the word it describes. Un año, and good, bueno. It's in the masculine form just like año. Un buen año. If we put it in front, the bueno is going to drop the O. A bad quiz. Una prueba mala. Prueba is a feminine word, so mala. If we put it in front, mala is going to still be mala because the rule is it's when bueno and malo go before a masculine singular noun. And quiz is not a masculine singular noun, it's a feminine word. Una mala prueba. So you can put it in front, you just don't have to drop anything because it's not a masculine noun. A good teacher, un profesor bueno. Or if we put it in front, since profesor is a masculine singular noun, un buen profesor.